Evening all. We're just getting ourselves settled. I want to just introduce you to another member of the family. This is Martha, and if you go and have a look at my Cal Summers Workshops and Classes page, you will see a picture of her a few moments ago when she decided that she'd look cool in my glasses. Anyway, I'm going to have to remove her because she's lying on my... Thank you, Martha. Excuse me. Thank you. Move your paw. Good girl. Right. Okay. So, how we get... How are we getting on? How did we get on last night? We've got our pages done, we've got our book done, and we've got our hinges done, I think. So in a moment, when we're all good to go, I will remove Martha. Hi, Wendy. And we can get going. Can we say hello, Marthy? Say hello. No, you're not quite in shot. Say hello. There we go. There we go. Oh, she's so cute. Can you hear her purring? Hi, Hannah. Marthy says hi. Okay, right, I'm going to remove her. Now I'm covered in cat fur. Come on. Oh, yeah, cat glitter. Come on, baby girl. Come on. Down you go. Okay. Right, let's see how long that lasts. Probably not very. Okay, so the first thing I want to do tonight is I want to attach our hinge to our book. So if you grab your book and your hinge, I've put mine, I tidied up, which means I'll never find it again. Okay. Right, now your hinge should have nicely dried. Let's get those all standing up. Okay, so there should be 8 hinges there. And the first thing we're going to do is actually make our book look like a book. Now, because this has had plenty of time to dry, it shouldn't be a problem to actually fold it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler, but very, very gently, I'm actually going to place it here in the bit where the spine, just between the spine and the cover, where that little bit is, and I'm going to just gently manipulate it until it cracks. Well, not literally, because that's exactly what we don't want it to do, but until it kind of like moves into place. Now, if we do this quite gently, what shouldn't happen is that we get a crack down our spine here, because all too often our papers can split. And this is another good reason why we don't actually put the double-sided tape actually on that bit of the fold. So now I'm just going to do the other side as well. Just gently move it so that it moves into place. There we go. There. And then my cover of my book actually looks like the cover of a book now, okay? And as you can see, there isn't actually any cracking on our spine there. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to attach our hinge onto our book. And we're going to attach it in the very centre, top to bottom and side to side of our spine here. Now, because our hinge is actually slightly smaller... Oh, by the way, forgot. Sarah says she's very sorry. She's gone to have a bit of a lie down, but she says to say hi to everybody. And I completely forgot, even though she told me about 3 seconds ago. So, sorry. Anyway, good evening, Gwen. We're actually going to just mark where the middle of this is so that we can easily attach our hinge. So, use a pencil or a pen, whichever you prefer. I'm going to use a pen at the risk of it actually showing afterwards, but I do kind of want you to be able to see it. Our hinge is 3 inches. this means that we need to mark halfway, which is, oh gosh, would that be 1.5 inches, Mark?
What's that?
Half of 3.
It is, yes.
Yes. So I'm just going to make it. No, you weren't listening. Oh, you know, you can tell we're married, can't you? Right.
I'm talking to Mel.
You're talking to Mel. Is she late?
No, she's here.
So I'm just going to make those 2 marks there so that I can see. Now, because my hinge system has 8 hinges, half of 8 being 4, I know that halfway through my hinge is halfway through this middle gusset here. So what I want to do is stick this down so that the middle of my gusset is actually where those 2 marks are that I've put. So it's going to be essentially there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, same as always, I am going to put some double-sided tape on here because I want it to actually stick whilst it dries, and then I am going to use some wet glue to make sure that it sticks really well. So, because I tidied up, I put my double-sided tape away. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape there, there, and I'm just going to put one across the centre there. Okay. And then I'm going to pull that off. Evening, Mel. Okay, right, so I'm going to get my wet glue now, and I'm going to make sure that I put plenty on, because it is so, so important that this bit is stuck down really, really well. Now, I don't work with children, and the reason that I don't work with children is because they're what? Not as sticky. They're not as sticky. The reason I don't work with children is because they don't seem to understand the concept of less is more when it comes to glue. You know, why use a little splodge when a whole bottle will do? This is one of those occasions where the kids actually aren't far off wrong. So, or right, aren't far off right. Yeah. Anyway, I want you to use plenty of glue. So I'm just going to stick my glue all over. Make sure that I've got it on my hinges here. This is the most important bit here, where the hinges actually meet the back of our card. Okay, right, so lots of glue on there. I am now going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to find again the centre. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be there. And I'm going to lay that down. Hang on, I must stand up to do this. So that it is centred top to bottom and left to right. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that that is stuck down really, really well. Okay, now this is a good time to get your bone folder out again, or something with a flat point. Just because it was easy to get at. I've got this tool that I stole from my daughter actually, because it's really important that we get those gussets stuck down onto our spines.
Vicky has asked, how do you prevent crinkling?
How do I prevent crinkling? Hi Diane. Crinkling,
don't have it.
As in using too much wet glue. I think.
Don't use too much.
Yeah, don't use too much would be the answer. I actually, when it comes to wet glue, I have tried so many over the years, and on the whole, most wet glues work really, really well. But each of them kind of like have a reason why, you know, they're really good. And one of the reasons why my glue of choice is this sticks to here is that it doesn't wrinkle the paper. Now, one of the reasons, say like on the front of the book where we put the double-sided tape, that is completely deliberate because double-sided tape doesn't wrinkle your paper. I said that light was going to go. So I think it depends on the glue, and I think it depends on how much you use. So my advice would be to stop the paper crinkling. Just watch how much glue you use. Although, to be fair, although the Sticks 2 is very good and it says that it doesn't wrinkle paper, I can't think of a glue that I've used, a wet glue that I've used, that does specifically wrinkle paper. You know, it's everything in moderation. I wish that applied to chocolate, but unfortunately in my life it doesn't. Okay, so what I've got now is, and I'm going to keep burnishing it because this is just so important that we make sure that the gussets of our hinges are absolutely stuck down to the back of the book. This is so important, I can't tell you. Okay. Right, so if you have a look at my book now, you can see, I'm hoping this is in shot, you can see that this is stuck down really, really, really closely to the back of the book. So that spine there, there's no, the paper isn't coming up from the spine at all. So that's absolutely flush with the book, and the same on the other side. And that is really, really important that they're stuck down well. And like I said, keep going back, go to your gussets and just give them a good old burnish and just make sure that they are stuck as close as possible to the back of your book, because this is what is going to hold the pages into your book. I am planning, probably be towards the end of this year, we're actually going to be making a Christmas book, and that is actually going to have a soft spine, which means that the hinges aren't attached in the same way. It's actually much more manoeuvrable and they're not stuck on the back of the book. But we're going to start off easy. We're going to start off with this hidden hinge binding, and that's the way that we do it. Okay, so that is stuck, totally and utterly stuck, I hope. So does that make sense to everybody now? Are we all right with that?
Margaret says, hi Cal, missed your classes.
Hi Margaret, you all right? Okay, so now we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to put that to one side to dry just for a few moments, and we're going to go back to our pages. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, this book has 8 pages, and we can actually make them in any order or any design that we like. So whether you want to make all 8 exactly the same, whether you want to mix and match bits of them, whether you want to do every single one differently, that's entirely up to you. But I'm going to show you how to do as much, you know, much of the different versions as I can. So hold on 2 seconds while I just grab the right bit of my tutorial. And we're going to look at page 1. So if I get my original book here, page 1 is what I've called a folded insert. So this bit here, this page here, it's exactly the same as what we've got, but it's actually got these bits that we can pull out. Okay, so we can put photos on there, we could maybe put some hidden journaling, whatever it is that we wanted to do. You can make your inserts, all these long ones, you can cut them off halfway, it's entirely up to you. But I'm just going to just kind of follow along what I've already done. So if you're ready to cut out again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these insert bits here. Now we should have loads and loads of odds and ends of papers left over from all the cutting we did yesterday. I've got more than you, I expect, because I managed to make some mistakes. So what I'm going to do is decide which 2 papers I want, because this is going to be, on my book, it's going to be page 1 and page 8. So I am going to pick that green one because I like it, and then on the back I'm going to do this orange one. Okay, so that's going to be my front and back pages. Now, personally, the reason that I've chosen these papers and not some of the really, really fancy ones is because the inserts are actually going to cover them over a little bit. So I've got really nice pattern paper and I don't want to, you know, to cover up all of the best bits. Okay, so let me just get the exact sizes for you. I'm going to make 2 inserts and I'm going to cut 4 pieces of paper. I am going to cut one at 7 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to, I think it's the same size actually. Yeah, so I'm going to cut 2 by 7 at 4 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to cut 2 at 4 1/2 by 4 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to find my trimmer. And hopefully Mark can remind me what size I've just said because I've already forgotten. Well, I think I'm going to use this one to start with. So that is, what did we say, 4 1/4 inches, was it, Mark?
Yes.
Yep, 4 1/4 inches by 7 inches. What have I got?
Just double check
that. Right, 4 1/4 by 7. Let me just double check that. Yep, 7 by 4 1/4, and then the other 2 I think were 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and you're going to want 2 of those. Bits of paper everywhere. So now I'm going to grab my scoreboard and on one of these ones that is 4 1/2 by 4 1/4, on the 4 1/2 inch side, so that means we've got the 4 1/2 inch side at the top, we are going to score at 1/2 inch. Don't do it too hard, and put your thing through it like I've just done. On the other one, the longer one, at 7 inches, at the top we're going to score again at 1/2 inch there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my bone folder, I'm going to fold that flap over like that, and I'm just going to make sure that it's got a really, really, really good burnished fold on those 2 pieces. Now what I'm also going to do now, just because I like the look of it, is I'm going to round the corners of my pieces. So I'm just going to do it on 2 sides. So there's the longer one. So I'm doing it on the side away from the fold. Okay, and now I'm going to actually stick these together. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the outside flap there, and I'm going to make sure that that fits really closely up there. and just glue that down. Oh dear. Well, never mind. On the inside, we'll just call it an interesting middle. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this one as well. So I'm going to put some glue on that flap there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I've done that the wrong way around, haven't I? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it that way. And then I'm going to stick that there. You don't have to use the same bits of paper. You can use 4 different ones. It's entirely up to you. So when I come to stick my page in, which I'll do in a minute, I can pop one of my pieces in like that, and then the other one can go on the other side like that, so that I've got those 2 inserts there. Now, with regard to actually putting the pages into the book, now it's had a little bit of an opportunity to dry, I'm just going to make sure that my book actually folds up again. So I'm going to get my ruler and just make sure that it folds. There we go. And the same on the other side. Okay, there we go. Not quite in the middle, but it's near enough. And then just to make it super easy to put our pages on, I'm going to mitre each of these hinges here. So I'm just going to lop off a tiny little bit of the hinge. I hope you can see that. So that it's just at a sort of an angle. And that will make it much, much easier to glue our pages on. And I'm going to do that top and bottom of every hinge that we've done. Yeah, I know Mark's whispering at me now and he's telling me that it would have been easier to do it before we stuck it in, which to some degree is true. However, it makes it a little bit awkward when we come to stick it down. I have tried it both ways and my preference is still not to do it that way, but I think it's a fair point to make. Yeah, you shut up, dear. No, it's a fair point actually, but that's the reason why I don't do it. Okay, so now I've mitered all of my corners. Just gonna make sure I've got my book the right way up. I'm going to show you how we actually put the pages in. Now I'm going to start at the back here, just because I find that easier, but as page 1 and page 8 are the same, it doesn't actually matter. And just to show you exactly how it works, I've got my hinge here with the mitered corners. I've got my page, which as you see, you can see all the way through. And I'm just going to slip that on there and just make sure that it fits. Okay. Now, when I'm gluing this this page into the book, you can see I'm going to put glue here on the hinge and I'm going to put glue here on the hinge. But when I actually come to stick the page down, I am not going to butt my page up to the hinge where it actually folds and moves. As far as it'll go, I need to pull it back about 1/8 of an inch, and this is absolutely deliberate. The reason for this is that if you leave a little bit of a gap there, you will find that your pages will move easier, they will lie flatter. So it's so much easier if you just leave a gap of about 1/8 of an inch from the fold where the from the edge of the gusset to where the hinge is. Okay, so I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue onto both sides of my hinge. I'm going to slip my page onto the onto the bit that I've just done, onto the bit that I've just glued. Let's lie it down and make sure that it's actually straight. I'm going to make sure that I've got a bit of a gap, and I'm going to just stick that down with my fingers. So what we've done here is we've actually enclosed one end of our page. So if you look here, you can see that I've left a bit of a gap. I don't know if you can see actually because this paper is really busy, but I've left a bit of a gap there, okay? So whilst that's drying, I'm just going to use a couple of clips to pin that into place whilst it dries. Okay. Just make sure that it's adhered really, really well. Does that make sense to everybody before I go on any further? I can't see any things on this one.
Anyone?
See if I can see everybody's. Right. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, there we go. There's everybody. Okay. All right. Hi Rizwana, how was your upside down cake? Was it good? Okay, now we're going to look at page 7, which is the next one. In this book, my page 7 is quite short, so I'm actually going to cut down one of my pages that I've made. So I'm going to decide whichever one I want to go next. I think I might have one with a bit of a pattern on it, and I'm going to cut that down to, let me measure because I could never remember. I've lost my ruler. Well, there it is. 5.5 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that down to 5.5 inches. You don't have to do this. If you want to leave it long, leave it long. It's absolutely entirely up to you. And this is the nice thing I think about this book, is that you can, you know, you can change it to really make it one of your own. You can mix and match as you please. So we're going to put the next page in exactly the same way. I'm just going to put some glue. I keep wanting to say double-sided glue. I don't know why, because I don't think there is such a thing.
Sticks both sides.
On both sides of my hinge. And I'm going to attach my page. Now, that should have dried enough by now. I'm going to lie the back page flat, and I'm going to lie this page on top just to make sure that it lines up there, and just to keep it slightly away, oh cat, from the edge of where the gusset meets the hinge. Okay, I'm just going to glue that down. Okay, so that's 2 pages in. Right, we'll just leave that for a moment. Okay, the next page is going to be our policy envelope. So just choose whichever one you want to go next. I kind of like, let's have a pattern. I like these mason jars. Let's put those in. I'm just going to trim. Just trim the edge off a little bit because I folded that one badly. Oh, this doesn't want to play at all today. There we go. Let's trim that down a little bit, and I'm going to add that in exactly the same way. So I'm going to take some of my double-sided glue. I'm going to pop some on the front of the hinge. The back of the hinge, and just pop my page on. I'll make sure that it fits there, which it does. Make sure it's just slightly away from where the hinge meets the gusset, and glue it down. Make sure it's stuck on both sides. Okay, and I'm just going to stick that back. Now the next 2 pages are also shorter, but before I glue those in, I actually want to make those funny little finger round holy things. I don't know what they're called. So I'm just going to grab one of my big punches, and I'm going to decide which pages I want. I think I'll go for these 2. I'm just going to cut those down to 6 inches, I think, these. You can cut them down to whatever size you like. Just trim that off a little bit. My really bad folding yesterday. And I'm actually just going to work out where the middle is. So 4.5 inches, half of 4.5 is 2 1/4. So I'm just going to make a little mark there so I can see where the middle is, and the same on this side as well. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my circle punch, and I am going to work out pretty much where the middle is using my mark as a guide, and I'm going to just clip that out so that we've now got that nice little finger hole. Then I'm going to do the same on the other one as well. Okay, we're just going to add those into the book in exactly the same way as we've added the others. Okay, and that next one, like I said, with these pages, you've made your base pages. What you do with them then is entirely up to you. This is totally how you personalise your book. You might decide you want to cut them down, you might want to leave them the same length, you might want to add flaps, there's 101 different things that you can do with it. Once you've made your base pages, it's easy to personalise the book and make it yours. Okay, so we'll stick that down too. Just going to glue those for a minute. Always got a bag of clips on me. You never know when you might need them. Okay, so we've just got 2 more pages to put in. Oh, did you make your ice cream, Rizwana? Okay, so our last 2 pages. The first page is going to be a full-sized one, and the next one I think I'm probably going to leave full size as well, just because I can. So I'm just going to trim off where I've overfolded it, because I really should have concentrated better yesterday. That was all right. And then I'm going to glue those in, so I think that's done near enough. Okay. So let's have a look. That one was a full length one. I think we pop that one in. Line it up. Yeah, this one was a little bit shorter. Can't remember how much shorter. Let's have a look. I think it was 5.5 inches. Yeah, I'm just going to cut that down. So my book is kind of symmetrical really, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, don't forget to make sure that you've left a little gap. Oh, here's Storm. Yeah, hello, goodbye. You're just in exactly the wrong place. There we go. And then the final page is a full-size page, and I'm just going to pop that in here now. Does anybody else have trouble crafting with cats? Because it seems to be an ongoing problem here, that as soon as I start, they just want to be in the picture. Okay, final page. I do find it easier to work backwards, back to front, but it's entirely up to you, whatever works. That just happens to work for me. Okay. All right, so I've now got all the pages in my book. So you can see here, this book will bend better in time. It's just something that the book's got to learn about how to sit. But you can see that I've got my 8 pages in there. All in, all down. And I've started to make my inserts. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And I'm going to pop that one in there. And that's my first page done. Okay, so I've got my insert there. And I've got my second insert there. This page has got short flaps on it, and I'm just going to show you how to do those, because as you will notice, each page has actually got a hole in the end of it, and that is quite deliberate. So if we're wanting more photo mats, we can easily slot more in there. So if I'm going to put some more flaps on this, which we're actually going to attach to the page, it's going to be easiest, or at least it's going to give us a lot better use of our pages if we leave some space to put some extra photo mats in. So what I'm going to do now is, oh, Storm's now lying on my book. Hold on. Here you can see we've got our flaps, but they're actually attached. Great stuff. They're actually attached to the book, but we've still got space to put one. I think I need to glue that down there. So what I want you to do is I want you to cut 2 pieces exactly the same, and I want them to be 4 1/4 by 4 1/2 inches again. So choose some papers. They don't have to be, you know, the same as this one. It's entirely up to you how you do it, but you're going to cut 2 at 4 1/2 by 4 1/4. So let's have a look. So 4 1/2 by 4 1/4. I'm then going to score at 1/2 inch on the 4 1/2 inch side. Okay. Oh, I've done that one for, well, it doesn't matter, it's near enough. So score on the 4 1/2 inch side. That means the 4 1/2 is at the top at 1/2 inch, and opposite to the side where you've actually done your score marks, I want you just to, if you want to, just round your corners. Okay, and then we're going to fold and burnish. Now when we actually come to glue this, because it's actually going to fit inside, the easiest thing to do is just quickly miter that corner. So from the edge of where your score line is to the edge of the paper, like that. So that's where my score line is. I've actually just cut that little bit off. I'm actually not going to put the glue on the flap here where I would normally put it. I'm going to put it on this bit here because, sorry Storm, just look after my book for me. I'm going to put the glue here so that it sticks to that bit there, okay? So that when I glue on the other side as well, I've still got that opening. So put some glue there, and I'm going to just put that in there, centre it top to bottom. And I've got my flap there, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Oh, for goodness sake.
Uh-oh.
Now Ruby's come. Oh, no, don't start fighting. Do not start fighting. Oh, God, I've got to stand off at 50 paces here. Right. We've got to go. Hang on. Come on, Ruby. Come on, baby girl. Come on. You're a good girl. Good girl. There we go. If anybody comes to the retreat and they read our risk assessments and our health and safety information, there's a bit on there that when you read it, I hope reminds you of tonight, and that's all I'm saying. So I've got my glue on the inside of my my flap here. I'm just going to insert that into my book. Make sure it's centered top to bottom. You can sit down now, Storm. Disaster has been averted. But now I've still got this gap here where I can add another photo mat if I want to. Okay? Diane, do your dogs jump on your craft area when you're trying to work? Yeah, hello, Storm. You're lovely. Yes, you're my baby girl. Okay, so there we go. So that's page 2 done. So we're getting there. Look, we've done page 1, and we've done page 2. Now, page 3 in my book is, let's say, policy envelope style. All it is we're going to put a little flap here so that it looks like, you know, an old-fashioned sort of policy envelope. So I'm going to just try and find the same paper that I used here, which Storm is now sitting on. Right, shift. Come on, shift. I'm not sure which paper it is. Ah, got some there. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a flap to go on there. So do I want it that way around or that way around? Let's go for that one. So as long as you remember that you need to have a 1/2 inch flap that you glue to the inside of your book, you can make this bit of the envelope as wide as you like. But I'm going to cut mine at 4.5 inches. By, let's say, 3 inches. I'm going to take my scoreboard and I am going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to round the corners of the flap on the side furthest from where the score mark is. Okay. I'm going to fold that over and burnish it really well. Now, because I want this to form a flap to actually cover up that bit of my page, I'm just going to miter the corners so that I can slip it in easily enough. I'm just going to check for size because that felt a little bit big. Let's see. No, that's perfect. And I'm going to put the glue on the outside of my flap here. And I'm going to attach it to the inside of my page here. So that when I open that bit up, I can put little bits of card or photo mats or tickets or memorabilia or whatever I want. If you want to cut out a 1/2 circle there, then do it before you stick that bit down. Okay, so that is my policy envelope page. Okay. Oh, Diana, I'm so sorry. I don't know how many cats I've had in my life, and you just never, I don't think you ever get over losing any of them. Right, these middle 2 pages here, they're going to have photo mats in, so we're not going to worry too much about those. And then we're back to the beginning again, so we're just going to do on these 3 pages what we did here. Now, on the back of the policy envelope, we've actually got a little bit of space. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to make a pocket to go on so that I can just add some more photo mats in, because we might as well use as much space as we can. Now, how big you do the pocket is entirely up to you. But just remember that what you need to do is the length of your page, which is 7.5 inches for me with this one, plus 1 inch, because we're going to score and leave half an inch score mark at either end. So that is going to be cut. I'm going to cut a piece that is 8.5 by 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to find a piece and I'm going to cut it at 2.5 by 8.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to take my scoreboard And on the 8.5 inch side, Storm's coming back, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score at 8 inches. I'm then going to turn my piece of paper around 90 degrees, and I'm going to score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. So what I've got here on my piece of paper is I've got U-shaped score. What's she doing? I've got U-shaped score. I've got U-shaped score lines here, which I'm hoping that you can see all right. Might show up better on that side. Okay. What I'm going to do now to make the pocket lie flat is I'm going to take off this corner here, this little square that we've got here with the intersecting score lines. Now you can cut straight across, and it often works just fine. But for me personally, when I'm cutting a corner, I will snip up to where those score lines intersect. You see there, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut it at more of an angle. So instead of going straight across, I've actually got a little bit of an odd angle going on there. Okay, and I'm going to do that on both sides where the score lines intersect. So I'm just getting rid of that little weird square in the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to fold over each of those flaps, and when I've found my bone folder, which really being so big you think I wouldn't lose, but I so can, I'm just going to make sure that those edges are nice and sharp. Now here you can see exactly the reason why I cut it at more of an angle. When I glue that down now, it isn't going to make the slightest bit of difference to my pocket that these bits don't meet. It doesn't matter because we're not going to see it. But what it will do is it will mean that our pocket will lie flat. If we don't cut it quite right, we'll often end up with two layers of paper there, and that can make our book really bulky when it doesn't need to be. So I've got that all nicely scored. I'm going to just pop some glue on my pocket there, and I'm going to stick this right to the edge of my pocket there, of my page there. Okay, so I've actually got a little pocket, as you can see. So I've glued that down, and I've now got a pocket where I can put extra photo maps. And we'll come to decorating this all up afterwards and making it look cool. I'm going to put photo mats in here. Roughly, we might as well cut them now, I guess. The size for those is going to be, I've lost my ruler. What size did I do them in the other one? In the other book, I did them 7 inches by 4 inches. So I'm just going to cut 2 pieces, 7 inches by 4 inches, but you can cut as many of these as will fit in. I'm just going to round my edges, and I'm just going to pop that into my pocket there, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So 7 inches by 4 inches, round the corners, and I'm going to pop that in here. Okay, so we've now got our page with the removable flaps, we've got our page with the stuck flaps, we've got our policy envelope with the pocket on the back, we've got our two slightly shorter pockets with the finger holes and some photo mats, and we're back here to where I stuck the policy envelope on the previous page. So what I'm thinking is I might well do that again, but I could also do something completely different on the back with regard to pockets. So what I think I'm going to do is I am going to add a policy envelope to this side, but on this side we're going to make a different sort of pocket to go on the back. So I'm making this up as I go along, but that's fine. So I want to make the flap for the policy envelope, and I can't remember what size I said it was before. Mark, can you remember? No, it was 4.5 by 3 inches, as I recall. Let's have a look. Try to find the same paper. Right. So four and a half by 3 inches, and I'm going to score down there at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch. Around those corners, right to the edge of the flap, from the score line to the edge. I realise this isn't going to match up, but that's okay. I'm cool with that by the time I've finished decorating it. And I'm going to glue that. Just make sure it fits. Yep, on there like that. So I'm going to stick some glue on the, on the outside of the flap on this one. And I'm just going to glue that down there like that. So I've got my policy envelope here. Now, on this side, because it's upside down, not that I'm particularly worried about that, I'm going to do a pocket that faces that way. So all I need to do is find my ruler. I've just had it. How can I have lost it again? So that needs to be 5.5 by 4.5. So this pocket is going to be 5.5 by 4.5 inches. 5.5 being the actual height of the pocket. This is different to the tutorial that you've got, by the way. I'm just making it up just to show you how easy it is to mix and match bits. And I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and 5 inches on the 5.5 inch side. I'm then going to turn it 90 degrees, and I am going to score at 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side. Okay. So we're going to have a pocket that's going to face that way, so we can take things out that way. And I'm going to mitre my corners by taking off that little square that we've just done with our scoreboard. And just because I can, I'm going to find out where the middle of this pocket's going to be. So 1/2 of 5.5 is 2 3/4. Would that be right, Mark?
It would.
Oh, good. I'm just going to... Who was that? Oh, it's Ruby and Storm. 2 3/4. And I'm going to use my round punch. Guess where the middle is? That looks about right. fold those over. Oh, God's sake. I think we need to put the door back on the craft room. Can that be our job for tomorrow? Okay, so now I've got a pocket that faces out that way, beautifully modelled by Ruby. So I'm going to stick some glue on my flaps here. And I'm going to stick that onto my book there. Once I've stuck this on, I'm just going to remove Ruby. Oh, hang on. Yes, come on. Come on. Good girl. Oh, oh, God. Good girl. Oh, shoo. Oh, stop it, you two. Just make myself a quick mat just to show you. Take a little bit off that. I'm just going to around my corners, pop that in there, and look, you can't even tell that that bit underneath is upside down. So as I've said in many classes, don't ever think that you make a mistake. It's not a mistake, it's an opportunity to embellish, and I am going to stick to that rule. Okay, so this one here is the covered in cat hair, is the flaps that are actually glued onto the book. And I've forgotten what size they are. I think they were 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, but we can do these ones. Let's do them 4 1/2 square. Let's just, you know, push the boat out. I know I'm going fast, and I know that none of this is in the tutorial. But the reason for that is I just want to show you how versatile this book is and how you can absolutely personalize it and make it your own. I've shown you how to make basic pages, I've shown you how to make basic pockets, and it's entirely up to you then what you do with them and how you do it. This book can totally and utterly be personalized. So I've just done these at 4 1/2 inches, and I'm just going to score at 1/2 inch on the 4 1/2 inch side. As you've only got 4 1/2 inch size, it doesn't really matter which way round it is. Okay. So I'm going to miter my corners. And then I'm going to round the ones that are furthest away from my scored and mitered flap. Okay, right, decision time. Which way round am I doing it? Am I going to have my flaps so that they're green, so the page looks like that, or am I going to have them the same as my base page? Make a decision for me. I know what I think. What do you reckon? Here's a clue. Thank you, Vicky. I agree. Green side, absolutely, definitely. And we'll go to first past the finishing post, so green it is. Right, let me just check that fits in. All fingers and thumbs tonight. Because I've been tidying out the garage today. Oh boy. I had no idea how much stuff. Well, I did have an idea how much stuff I had. That's a stupid thing to say. But I had no idea what a mess it was in. Right, okay. So I'm going to glue those down now. And remember, we're not putting the glue on this side. We're going to put the glue on this side of the flap because we want to make sure that the page ends are still open so that we can put more photo mats in. So I'm just going to add that in. Glue that down. Glue on that side. Oops. And glue that in there. Okay, and glue everywhere. Okay, so I've glued that in, but I've still got space here to put in an extra photo mat if I want to do that. So I've got plenty of space there. So, final page now. This is with the removable flaps, and as I recall, they were 2 lots of 4 1/4 by 7 and 2 lots of 4 1/4 by 4 1/2. I think it doesn't matter as long as it's 4 1/4. It doesn't matter what size the other ones are. So let's see what I've got. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and I need 2 of those. And then 4 1/4 by 7. And on one piece of the 4 1/4 by 7, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on the 7-inch side. And on one of the pieces that is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, I'm really confused now. It's too late in the day for me. Yeah, I'm gonna on the 4 1/2 inch side, I'm gonna score 1 at 1/2 inch. Got it. Oops. I'm just going to round those corners. That was lucky. I'm going to glue that on top of there. Oh, look at that. Of course, I meant to do it like that. That was, you know, exactly how I meant it to be. I'm going to glue that down like that. There we go. And then I'm just going to insert these like that. Okay, so that's actually all the pages in the book done. We haven't decorated them yet, obviously, but that's the worst of it done. So what we need to do now is we're actually going to make the little folders that go on the inside and the back front covers. So we'll do that now. What I'll do then is I am going to make you a further video, which is just showing you how I'm going to decorate mine up, and I'll post that as soon as possible. Then I am going to make one final video for you, which I will also post. You don't need to sit and work with me about how to make the shaker pockets, whether or not you've actually got any equipment to do that. I will show you ways to do it without a fuse tool. And then you can just finish your books off in peace. So tonight we're just going to finish off with these little folders here that are gusseted so that we can fit lots of lovely things in them. And this is another one of our exploding pockets, isn't it? And as you can see here, I've just added a couple of really quick photo mats in just to give you the idea. So that's what we're going to make next. And they just tie with a piece of ribbon. So if you want to put your books to one side, make a bit of a space for yourselves so you've got room to work. And grab a couple more sheets of your paper. So have I worked too fast for you tonight, or have you managed to keep up with me? To be honest with you, Rizwana, they don't take long. I think once you get the hang of making a book, it really doesn't take long at all. Okay. Oh, yeah, Vicky, I have the same problem, but with cats. Okay. Right, so now we are going to make both the front and the back cover little file folders, and we're going to do them in exactly the same way. So what I want you to do now is I want you to cut two pieces, which are your base pieces, at 8 inches by 4.5 inches. Now, it's entirely up to you how you want to do this with regard to your papers. I'm going to make my front and my back folders in one style of paper and then another style of paper for the back. But I'm going to use the same design paper for each one. So I'll put them somewhere safe. Where have I put all my pieces of paper? There we go. I think I'll do this one on the front because it just makes my life easier because it's non-directional. And then I'll use the apples on the back for exactly the same reason. So I'm just going to grab a couple of pieces of 12 by 12 to do that. So I need two base pieces, one for the front and one for the back, and I'm going to cut those at 8 by 4.5 inches. So let's have a look. That's 4.5. By 8, and that's one of my base pieces. 4.5 by 8 for the other. Okay, so I've got my 2 base pieces there. I am then going to cut for each front and back. I am going to cut 2 at 8 by 3 3/4 inches. So let's cut this at 8 by 3 3/4 inches. Two for that one. And 2 for that one. Finally, we need to cut 2 for each piece, the front and the back. We need to cut 2 at 4.5 by 5 3/4 inches. So I'm going to cut that at 5 3/4. By 4.5. Okay, and the same on the other. So that's 4.5 by, how much did I say?
5 3/4.
By 5 3/4. Okay. I'm just going to make them one at a time, but I'll show you with this one. My base piece is this back bit here. Okay? So what I need to do is to decide which papers I want facing up. Do I want them all the same style? Or do I not mind, and I can mix and match them? I want mine in this case to be all the same, but when I fold my book up, the papers that I want to see on the front here are these bits of the pattern papers. So my base piece is going to go that way up, so that the papers that I see when I open up my exploding foldery thingy, what's it, are going to be these green ones with the white spots. So I'm going to take the other 4 pieces that I've cut, and I'll just show you briefly so it'll make sense. These are the bits that are going to go like that. I'm not sure how much of that is actually in shot. So when I open my book up, that's what I'm going to see. Okay, so what I need to do now is to score the actual gusset on each of these 4 pieces, so that when we fold it all up, we've got room to put lots and lots of photo mats, memorabilia, whatever it is that we want to put in there. So this middle bit, that doesn't have any scoring on it at all. Our side pieces, we are going to score on the 5 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. So you can see here what you've got is you've got your flap, and that's what we're going to attach there. And you've got that 1/4 inch gusset, which is what will give us the space to be able to put lots of interesting things in. Okay, and we're going to do that exactly the same on this piece. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, and we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch. Okay. Now our top and bottom pieces here, we're actually going to score on the 3 3/4 inch side. So we've got our 3 3/4 inches at the top here. We are going to score at 1/2 inch, and we are going to score at 3/4 of an inch. So here you can see on the long side, we've just scored to make our gusset. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other one. We're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 of an inch. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold on our score lines so that you can see here we've got a piece that's got that U-shaped bit on it, and that is what is going to form our gusset. I'm going to just round the corners of that, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this other piece. I'm going to fold so that my gusset is really obvious. Did you just snigger?
No.
Oh, makes a change.
I was choking on my thing.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to round the corners. Same on the side pieces. I'm just going to fold so that I get my U shape. Okay, and the same on that one as well. Ooh. I have to say, I got these corner rounders from Hobbycraft and they are totally indestructible. Thoroughly recommended, because I'm forever chucking mine somewhere. Right, so I've got my base piece here. What I need to do now is glue this all together so that it forms one piece. So I'm just going to open up where I've just folded, and I am going to put some glue on the 1/2 inch flap that I've measured. Can you see? So that's where my gusset is there. That's where my glue is on the flap, and I'm going to glue this up to just where the score line starts. Oh, can't see. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, so that I've glued it now, so that I've got my base piece, I've got my gusset, and then I've got the fold, so that when I come to fold this up, it will fold up like that. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this other side. So I'm going to stick my glue here on that 1/2 inch flap, and I'm doing this right-handed now, so it's all over the place. I'm going to put that up to where my score line is, but not touching it. I don't want it to touch it because then it won't fold properly. I'm just going to make sure that that's straight. Okay, so now I've got those two pieces that fit like that. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue the top and bottom on. I'm going to do it in exactly the same way. So I've got my long piece here. Just going to put a spot of glue on it, and I'm going to attach it here like that. So it just goes up to where, I'll take my glasses off. So it just goes up to where the score line is, but doesn't quite touch it. Okay. Don't worry about the back because you're never going to see it again. And then I'm going to do my final piece here. Now what I've forgotten to do this evening is grab my ribbon. So you're going to have to hold on for 2 ticks while I just go and find some that matches. But I'm going to leave you gluing and you can get on with your other foldery thing. Okay. Right, so now I've got my folder, but as you can see, it's actually got a gusset all the way around it, so I can put lots of nice things in it. So I'm just going to go and see if I can find some ribbon, and I'm going to leave you gluing. And Mark can talk to you for a moment, I reckon. Mark, talk to people. Right, lots of different ribbons here. Which one shall I go for? Kind of like the dark one. It doesn't matter what the width of your ribbon is, whatever you like really. You can use super wide ribbon and do a nice big bow. You've got plenty of room to do that. Or you can just use a narrow one. Like me, you could use 2 pieces of ribbon. It's entirely up to you. But I just want to make sure that however much ribbon I use is enough to tie and leave me a nice bow. So let's chop that off. I'm going to need one for the back as well. So let's just see roughly what length that is. It is roughly, and I'll probably trim this some more yet, 33 inches, but it doesn't really need to be that long. Wonder if I've got enough of that one as well. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do a double one. Right. Okay, we'll trim that off properly later. Now, to attach this, before we attach it to the book, I find it's easier to actually attach the ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my book there. I'm going to get my double-sided tape, which I've lost. Here. I'm just going to stick a bit of tape in the middle there. and I'm going to work out where the middle of my ribbon is. So I'm just going to, that's a cat by the way, I'm just going to fold that in half so I can see roughly where half is. And that looks about halfway. I'm going to attach that bit of ribbon, I think. Just attach that in the middle there as well. Okay. Pop that back on there just to keep it from sticking. Okay, so I'm going to fold this back up. And I'm going to tie my bow. Oh, this reminds me of, what do they call, is it chocolate limes? Okay, right, now I'm going to get my book and I'm going to glue this here, just like that. Okay, so it's a little bit away. Here's where the book joins. You can see where the crease is. I'm actually going to glue this side to side and top to bottom. So I'm going to put, I can take that off now. Just make sure that's flat, or as flat as possible. And I'm going to put plenty of glue on the back of my folder. And I'm going to just attach this to my book. Okay, so I've got it lined up with the anchor of my hinges, and I've got it left to right, top to bottom. I can now open that up and make sure that it's stuck down really, really well. I'll just use my bone folder just to go over that again. Okay, so there we go. That's how easy that bit is. So I'm just going to tie that up again just to keep it out of the way. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the back of my book. Okay, so that's coming on quite nicely, I think. So we'll go over the folder once more. I want to have my pattern paper on the top. So my base page is going to go that way out. Pardon me. With those like that. So that when I close it up, I'm going to be able to see my apples. So my base page, that doesn't need any scoring. But I'm going to take the side piece, which is 5 3/4 by 4.5 inches, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score it at 3/4 inch, and I'm going to do exactly the same with the piece for the other side. That's scoring it at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. I've got my top piece here. I am going to score on the 3 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. And I'm going to grab my bottom piece, which is 3 3/4 by 8 inches, and I'm going to score on the 3 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 inch. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fold those so that I've got my gusset. Just going to round my edges, and I'm going to glue this flap onto the back of my base piece, up to but not touching that score line. Let me just make sure that's, yep, okay, there we go. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to fold it, making sure I've got my gusset. I'm going to glue that. Just make sure that's reaching the right bit, which it is. Now I won't be able to post up these final 2 videos probably until Saturday at the earliest, because I won't be in tomorrow. And just the heads up that next week Mark and I are both going to be away. So I'm leaving the group in the capable hands of Mel, and also Sarah and Sarah. Now, Sarah Packer and Sarah Kensner are the 2 senior lab techs for the Scrap Lab. They're my design team. They are both amazingly talented ladies, and they've both very kindly agreed to help out in this group where they can. So if you've got any big questions, I'm quite sure that they'll be able to help, or if they can't, it's not going to be too long before we're back. We'll just be away for the week. So let me just finish this off. And I will post some info up about the 2 Sarahs for you, so that you can get to know them a little bit better. Actually, I haven't asked Rizwana to help, which was a huge oversight on my part.
She's busy eating ice cream.
She's busy eating ice cream. Oh, the doorbell. No, I think it's my tablet that keeps going off. I think it must be messages or something. So I'm sorry, Rizwana. I am doubly sorry, because I'm going to ask you to help out in a minute. And if you go and have a look at the Scrap Lab page, you will see some of the work that Rizwana's cards are out of this world. I was lucky enough to serve on the Fisker's design team with her earlier this year, and all I can say is wow. That doesn't look quite in the right place. Right, so there we go. Okay, so that's my other file folder done. What I need to do now is just make sure that I've got ribbon. I had brown. What shall I mix this one with? Bright green. No, don't like that. Don't like either of those greens. So that's quite nice. Right, so there's my ribbon. Figure out where the middle is, about there. And let's figure out where the middle that is. Let's have a look. About there maybe. Okay, and now I've got that, I'm going to just stick some glue on the back of here. Oh, Storm's back. And I'm going to stick this into the back of the book. I'll stand up again. Make sure that we're centering it left to right and top to bottom. That looks good. Let's just undo this. Okay. Right, so I'm going to go off and make a couple more films now. One, I'm going to just decorate my book, so it'll just be quick, and I'll probably fast forward most of it and do it fast just so you can see what I've done. And then I'm going to talk to you about this totally optional bit here, which I've made a shaker pocket. As I said yesterday, I've also done it where I've just used a piece of acetate. If I could find that book, I'd show it to you, but I've no idea where it is. But there's you can just leave it without. You don't have to put anything in there at all. A piece of vellum might be nice, perhaps. But I'm going to show you about shaker pockets. So here's our book. There we go. How quick and easy was that? I'm going to open the book up. We've got space for our all sorts of bits and pieces here. We've got our removable little flaps there. We've got the book here with the stuck-in flaps, but the space to put an extra photo mat there. Policy pocket, policy envelope with pocket on the back. We've got our two slightly smaller sized pages there. Another policy envelope here with a different shaped pocket on the back. Once again, our small flaps with the room for a photo mat, and removable flaps here again. Okay, so that's the base of our book done. All we need to do now is decorate it up, and that's what I'm going to go and do. So as far as I'm concerned, bar the prettying up, that book is good to go. We're all done. I hope you've enjoyed making it with me. If you've got any problems at all, please just give me a shout, because I want you to love bookmaking, and I want you to have a go, and I want you to be happy with it, and I want you to be proud of it. So just send me a message if you've got any problems at all, and I'd be happy to help. Now, before I go, I've got a little sneak peek for you of one of the next books that we're going to do. It's not going to be the next book, it's going to be perhaps the one after that. Now, I've already managed to lose a bit off it, and it's not finished, but this is what I call my square mini, and we're going to do it with a shaker pocket on the front. We're going to open it up. As I said, it's not finished yet, but you just get the idea, and this is going to be the next book that we make. Now, I do have 10 packs of these papers available. They're not in the shop because I haven't put them in there yet, because I don't want to do that until the book's finished. But if you do want to purchase a pack, I would be grateful if you could let me know whether you just want the papers or whether you would prefer to have a full kit, which will include the chipboard, the Tyvek, the white card that you need to do that. Anybody who maybe just wants the papers, I will include for you the acetate that you're going to need to make your shaker pocket. But I just want to know how much of a kit, if any, you want. So I'm going to leave that thought there for a minute. I'll say thank you once again for joining me, and I hope I will see you very soon. Don't forget to pop your photos in the group, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much for joining me.